Hi everyone, this week we are discussing about the elements of robbery, home invasion and carjacking. The elements of robbery must have three important components. Number one, it is the wrongful taking of personal property. Number two, it's robbing from the person or in the presence of the person. And the third one is robbing against the person's will by use of force or by the threat of force. Robbery is a crime against a person. It is an act against a person, an act doing against the will of a person. It's forceful taking, it's unlawful taking, it's felonious taking. The robber doesn't have any legal right to the personal property which is taken from the victim. The property belongs to the victim and the robber doesn't have any legal right or ownership of that particular personal property. So the robber is forcefully taking the personal property of the victim against the will of the victim by using the threat or using force to rob the property, personal property. The victim is afraid because of the threat, because of the force that was used by the suspect, and victim is on fear of the loss of their life, or victim is in utter fear of the loss of damage or any wounds, serious wounds. So it's robbing from someone against the will that hurts the person. So the elements of robbery includes all these three elements. The elements of home invasion also is the forceful entry into a dwelling or a residential place. Someone knock on the door and the person who resides inside the house open the door. Then the suspect shows any weapon or some kind of forceful entry. They forcefully enter inside the house. Then they take the property of the person from the house. In the home invasion, the home is not the target. The person who dwells inside the home is the target. They target the victim because they may be elderly people, they are women, they think that there won't be much resistance from the person. So they target the person and they invade inside the home, and the invader takes the property that belongs inside the house or that is of that house, and the invader doesn't have any ownership on that property. It is also by the use of the threat of force or by the use of force, the suspects, the invaders shows the force, and that produce the fear on the victims, and that use of force is an element. The forceful entry is an element, and also the property that is taken during the invading doesn't belong to the suspect. The carjacking is also a category of robbery, but it is the taking of the vehicle. The suspect targets the vehicle and target the suspect, the victim. They stop the car or they forcefully remove the person from the car outside or use the force or threat of force, ask them to come out of the car from their presence or they show the weapon to the victim and ask them the key of the car or takes the car. It's the taking of the car from whom it belongs to. So carjacking is the forceful taking of the vehicle, any vehicle. The carjacking is the forceful taking of the vehicle from its owner. To differentiate these three elements, all these elements, that the use of force is there, it is the taking wrongfully, or it is the illegal taking, it is from the person or in the presence of the person, either with inside the home or it is from a vehicle, and all of these are against the will of the person, and there's an use of the force or threat of force are added into all these crimes: robbery, home invasion, and carjacking. In April 12, 2023, at Jacksonville, Sonoma Southside condominium rentals, outside of the rentals, two suspects. One was a 27-year-old male suspect. Another one is unidentified. Approached to a 31-year-old woman, and the scene was captured in a ring camera. The suspect put a gun onto the head of the victim and told her, "Shut up or I am going to kill you," and have taken a blue bag from the victim. The crime was classified as robbery. Why it was classified as robbery? Because there was all these three elements present. It was the wrongful taking of a personal property. The bag was a personal property, and the taking was the wrongful taking, and it was from a person or in the presence of the person, and that was a robbing against the person's will. It was an act against the will of that lady by the use of force. The presence of two suspect itself is the use of force, and the weapon or the force that was holded her against the roadside was also a force against the will of the person, and there was threat included in it. That was classified as robbery. If it wants to be classified as home invasion, if the suspects knocked on that victim's house, enter inside the house, and did everything that was done outside what is done to her, it would have classified as a home invasion. Using the force inside the house, the entry was wrongful entry, the forceful entry, and taking of property from the person or in the presence of the person. If it was happened inside the house, then it was a home invasion. And if it want to be classified as a carjacking, if the suspects were targeting the person, waiting for her to arrive in the car, they approached to the car, put the gun onto her, ask her to come out of the car, and if they take the car and went away, then it would have been classified as a carjacking. So the elements of robbery, home invasion, and carjacking, they all include the wrongful taking. It is from the person, in the presence of the person, it is against the person's will, and it has the use of force or threat of force. Either it is happen outside, it is a robbery. If it happens from within inside the house, it is a home invasion. And if it is occurring for a vehicle and all these elements are present, then it's carjacking. Thank you.